Okay, before we go, I know Adam really wants to talk about this.
So I want you to picture this if you're me, right? So I stay up late, so like on the 3rd, because I know that the last episode of Star Wars Clone Wars is going to come out, like in 1 a.m. on May 4th, right? So I stay up and watch it. The ending is so heartbreaking that I can't go to sleep. I'm up for like another half an hour trying to figure this out, right? I was gonna watch Revenge of the Sith on May the 4th because this is my favorite Star Wars movie, but I was too sad. Also, when I wake up on May the 4th, the first thing I see is a text from Alex saying that, what's his name, Mikko Lehtonen? I don't care.
Mikko Lehtonen.
Mikko Lehtonen, this great left-handed European defenseman that everyone in Montreal wanted, out of nowhere signs with the Leafs. And you have everyone on Twitter, just like Leafs fans, just everywhere, just bragging about it. Like they've owned this guy for 2 months. Like you just got him out of nowhere. Like be frustrated.
But he's
like,
supposed to be very good.
I'm so happy for you that you have a great player.
It's not my problem that your GM continuously seems to have problems, and then you guys want to say it's not his problem. You know. I don't want to get into it now, but I read an article, the Athletic article, how a draft in June this year would completely ruin the rebuild. No way.
Really?
I'm gonna find the article, but like, I'm sorry, I don't like. This is a guy you capitalize on. I don't know what you have to do to get him. Like, I'm assuming the teams that were out there interested: New York, New Jersey, L.A., Montreal. Those are the 3 teams that were said to be interested on him. If I'm Montreal, yeah, I give him $925,000. I give him whatever the hell else he wants. Like, what was the one issue we talked about this entire year?
Left-handed
defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all on Marc Bergevin. I don't care what people say.
Well, at the end of it, it was that guy's decision to sign. And I hope he is happy with Toronto because I hate him. I hate him. I mean, it's very frustrating. Like, if you went to the Devils or the Kings, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But you're Montreal. Oh. Like, the Leafs have apparently been in such well regard about, really going to make an effort to talk to these free agents and that. And I think, you're the Montreal Canadiens. Can you not do that, too?
This is Arpin Basu from The Athletic.
Mm-hmm.
The headline is why a June draft would foil the Canadiens' ability to put the reset in overdrive.
Yeah, because Arpin is the head of Montreal athletic stuff, or athletic French version.
Yes, The Athletic French.
L'Athletic Montréal.
Okay.
And he had this big thing that Montreal, of course, have this access of the surplus of prospects that they could maybe, and this is when I said earlier in the year that this could be, they had the possibility to be Montreal's most disappointing offseason because they had the assets to really try and make a move. And now if you do this June draft and all of a sudden Montreal can't do the magic with the picks because you won't be able to do it because of the possibility of the playoffs coming back, then they can't do anything. It's frustrating, yeah.
So you're telling me you can't draft players and then trade your prospects? That's not a possibility?
No, what I'm saying is if this draft is coming, we're not going to be able to make any deals because who the hell knows what's going on? And plus, with the playoffs and that, the draft is when we see a lot of player movement. And Montreal going to be, you can't pull off the same moves July 1st onwards that you can't draft, right? And that's where I think it's going to screw Montreal. And also, the problem Montreal, with the cap now stagnating, is now Montreal have to re-sign Brendan Gallagher and Philippe Deneau come July 1st next season, but now they're eligible for extensions.
That's huge.
Things are getting worse and worse for Montreal.
But to say that because of June, there's a possibility that there's a draft in June that it completely screws up everything. I don't see how that makes sense. You still have Thomas Tatar and Jeff Petrie who you can trade and get legitimate assets for. Fine, you can use your 14 picks that you have this year, including a first, how many ever seconds, draft the players, and I guarantee you, if this draft is as good as everyone says, if you need assets, you can trade them. You can trade prospects and bring in legitimate assets. But to sit here and tell me that it screws up everything and, we're going to have to reset again, I don't think that's true.
Well, they have plenty of... The problem is for Montreal is they have plenty of forward prospects that are coming in the next few years.
Yes.
The big problem is their defensive prospects, which they have, but how many of them... Romanov will make the NHL last year, but
Correct.
As we've talked about times, he is not going to be a big difference maker in his rookie year. That's not going to happen.
Right.
So... if anything, I would look at maybe Montreal's trying to build up. Maybe this is the plan. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. Is to make a deal to help bolster the defense, right? And maybe they look at it and I don't know. Maybe there was a plan at the draft to try and make that move with those assets because drafting isn't going to help your defense. Is I think the way maybe Marc Bergevin looks at it.
Right. But then the question is, what are you trying to do? Are you doing a retool or are you doing a rebuild? I think we've had this discussion countless times on the podcast. And what the hell is he doing? Because no one knows. No one knows. They
build on the fly, does Marc Bergevin, even though everyone else...
That's more of a retool, right?
Even though who's done it and won?
No one. Like, Chicago's trying to do that, and they just fired their president. The Kings are trying to do that, and they're anchored by the Doughty deal. Like, Minnesota have been doing whatever Minnesota does for the past few years.
And now
right?
they've changed. They brought Bill Guerin in. They fired who was it? Paul Fenton or Cliff Fletcher? Who was it?
It was Paul Fenton they fired and replaced with Guerin.
And they traded Zucker, which everyone said that's what we're doing. Like,
that's a lot for him, by the way.
Oh yeah, great deal.
Right, like they're starting. The thing is, their team is full with players who are no one has any idea what they are, and they're signed to big deals. Okay, the Jared Spurgeon deal's not bad. Like, it's not good, but it's not the worst thing ever.
Matt Dumba's not bad.
Matt Dumba's not bad. I don't think that's a smart move to trade him, but if you want to, you can. You still have Jonas Brodin. Like, you have guys who are there, but you also have guys who are there and, there. Right?
A lot of mysteries there, like Ryan Donato, Luke Cunnin.
If they can trade Zach Parise and do the Andrew Ladd deals, because they were supposed to get who? Kiefer Bellows? Was that the
I was excited. Yeah, I was excited to see that.
That would have been a very good move for the Minnesota Wild. Like, yes, Zach Parise is loved in Minnesota. But his contract does not look good.
Not at all.
It's only half done.
Yeah, and to say, we have to take Andrew Ladd for the next couple of years, but we get Kiefer Bellows and whatever else was going the other way, I think that's another good prospect to add to the list of prospects they have. Like, they still have a guy in Russia. What's his name?
Oh, Kirill
Kaprizov, right? And that guy's supposed to be coming either this year or next year. Like, they put themselves in a really poor position because they were trying to do this retool or retool like on the fly, but now they have to hit rock bottom and go back up. And Montreal never hit rock bottom.
Or they were. They hit it, but they didn't identify that they should just down there. And then 17-18, my friend, was not a fun year. I was living there, and I went to a lot of those games.
Right.
It's not fun.
But I think with Montreal's they're actually hitting on their picks though. Like, I found with Minnesota, they will take guys that you don't know what it is, because they're such mid-tier picks, or they're you don't know what you're getting.
Joel Eriksson acts a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
That was the guy that was everyone's like, oh, he's great, but is he? And now you see him in the NHL, and you're like, is he? And you're thinking, but the problem is, you can, Daniel, to your point of Montreal hitting on their picks, is it would be great if they did that, but so it's great that they're doing that, but it doesn't help. Again, I think what Alex is saying here is you're not committing to the rebuild and holding on to your players like Price, Petrie, Tatar, Weber.
Do you think it's like a tradition type of thing, or like it's more of like these are beloved guys that.
I think what Berg version has said is that Price and Weber committed to him.
Yeah.
Okay, Weber didn't, first of all, but he's been a trooper. He's been big enough where you can make him your captain. Carey Price did commit for 8 years, and that's math. Like, say what you want about the money. Like, I want you to think about how insane a market is Montreal, and what Carey Price has been through since 2005, and think that he's stuck around there. And Mark Bergevin sees that as we're being loyal. But the problem is I want you to look at the Blackhawks, and what did loyalty do for them?
Yeah.
It set them back. So like they were loyal to Kane and Taves, saying, we want Saad back. And then you get rid of Panarin, who is like a Hart candidate this year, right? So that's that. I think that's the issue that Alex has there, and it's a legitimate one. It's probably Montreal's biggest problem. You're being loyal to guys, and you haven't even won anything. And these are guys on the wrong side of the 30, and each have, I think, at least like 7 years left on their deals.
Yeah, that's my issue.
I don't know how they're gonna move those. I mean,
and we've had this discussion too.
Yeah,
nothing's impossible. I think it will be difficult because their deals are so long. I don't think it's a matter of if they're skilled right now. Like, yes, Carey Price isn't the best goalie in the world like he was a few years ago, but he's still a very good goalie. Is he inconsistent sometimes? Yeah. Is the defense in front of him always on their game? No. So you have there's things I guess to look at, but man, that deal is so freaking long, and so is the Shea Weber one. And what the hell, what teams are willingly going to say, hey, we'll spend the next 7 years dealing with that cap? Like someone like Anaheim, who's openly said, hey, we'll take on extra cap. I don't think they'd be interested in something 7 years down for something that's 7 years down the line.
It's like the Bacchus one. It's expiring next year because that's why they took the full $6 million. They didn't. Boston didn't retain any salary.
Yeah, they retained a little bit.
Like for Montreal, this is I think what Montreal would see as a perfect little hope. Pekka Rinne had a Vezina Trophy year at 35, so you hope that first of all, Carey Price can continue to be a good goalie, which not best goalie in the world. Still was pretty damn good if you look at his numbers last year, especially like November onwards, right? Same with the year before. So that's a thing first of all you need to look at.
If they find that mix, there's always that balance between you have those solid veteran guys, but you still have those young guys that they're not exactly learning the ropes, but they're kind of getting to where they need to go. You can find that balance, then they could do something.
So here's what I think they're perfect. This is what I think it looks like Mark Bergevin may be counting on here. And I think this is a bit of a red flag. You have to hope that Shea Weber is like Zdeno Chara. That he, and Shea Weber is a guy who keeps in good shape. And you have to hope that he's continuing to play at a great level. And so far, that looks good for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think that leg injury wasn't as bad as we all thought it was, okay? You have to see that Carey Price can at least stay as a starting goaltender for this deal as well. You need to try and get him a good backup, which they have not been able to do for 6-7 years. And then you need to hope at the same time that guys like Nick Suzuki take step forwards. He probably will. Jesperi Kotkaniemi can continue to develop. I think he will. He's only 19, let's remember. You have to hope that next year Cole Caulfield can come in and be fantastic. You got to bet that Brendan Gallagher's body doesn't give up on him, which, let's be honest, 3-4 years, he'll be fine. After that, probably not. You have to hope on Caulfield. You got to hope on Romanov. You got to hope on Cam Hillis. There's a lot of hope on young guys, which, you do in this NHL. But I think, which is, if you want to bet on your young guys, I'm fine with that. It's just, I think the big red flag is now you have to rely on Father Time not coming to bite your team on the ass, a.k.a. your two biggest stars, right?
Right, and that's the issue.
Mm-hmm. And and Daniel, trust me, no one wants this team, no one wants all that to go well more than me. Again, look behind me to see how much I love this team, and Carey Price especially, right? So, but there are legitimate concerns, and there's a lot of more red flags than you'd see on the golf course.
And I would even talk about Jonathan Drouin.
That's another can of worms for another day.
I think the biggest issue of what you outlined is that they're relying on Father Time.
Which
that's
not everyone.
The biggest issue, yes, his injury wasn't as bad as everyone thought it was, or that's what the reports were saying. But what if next season he gets injured? We know, you're in deep, like a pile of crap right there. If he's injured.
A lot of people think, oh, Jeff Petrie plays his best hockey when Schaeber is gone. But then you got to think, oh, wait, who's after Petrie? And their best right-handed player after him is a 21-year-old Cale Fleury. And young defenseman, look at Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. Doesn't work.
I think it's worth it. I think it gets to a point where it's worth it to bet on young guys, but you have to bottom out. Like, and I'm using the Leafs as an example because that's pretty much what they did in 16-17, and they bet on all the young guys. And they bet on Matthews, they bet on Marner, they bet on Nylander, they bet on Kapanen, Kapanen wasn't there. Came towards the end of the season. They bet on Hyman, who was not as young as everyone else, but still young. Connor Brown, right? They bet on all these guys to come in and say, we're either going to make the playoffs or we're not. It didn't matter. And I don't think
that say is like pain, it's like growing pains.
Yeah, I don't think Montreal has hit that point yet where they don't care if they make the playoffs or not, because they haven't hit rock bottom. Montreal, because if you think, remember the discussion we had at the beginning of the year was that you thought the Canadiens were going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. I thought it too.
And I think most people thought it. I'm pretty sure I put them in the playoffs as well. And so we're halfway through the season, and they have already gone on one 8-game losing streak. They're about to go on another, and we're still now complaining that they should be in the playoffs. Hit rock bottom.
But they would have won those games if they had won. Remember that famous tweet?
Yeah,
They lost to the worst team of the decade 4 times.
So
twice at home.
It doesn't. You have to hit. I think it gets to. You look at a lot of teams. Like look at let's say Pittsburgh. 2 years in a row, they literally just did garbage.
And this, I'm guessing, you're about to go the Ovechkin Backstrom right here.
And Washington.
Oh, sorry, you said Pittsburgh. Sorry, shit.
I was going to say Washington. That was my next one.
I don't know why you were talking about
teams have hit rock bottom. Let's even throw the Leafs in there, just because that's what I know best.
Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks, Taves and Kane. The Leafs, Matthews, Marner, and even Nylander. But Nylander was, I think he was 8th overall, so a little bit out there. Right? These teams hit rock bottom. They get the really good guys. And they go back. And, right, so you have Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who you drafted 3rd overall. Sure, second season didn't go as well as everyone thought it was going to go. Go get another, just hit rock bottom again. And this year would have been the perfect year to hit rock bottom. Because God forbid, you don't get 1st overall, you don't get 2nd overall. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th are all great players. Like, we did our draft. We had Lafreniere, Byfield, Stützle, Drysdale, Rossi, Perfetti,
Askarov,
Holtz, Yaroslav Askarov. Right? Like, there's all these players who you have the opportunity to go get. But you were so, like, Bergevin was so persistent on making the playoffs when there were so many holes at the beginning of the year. That's my rant on the Montreal Canadiens. Thank you for listening.
Anything from you, Daniel, or we get to wrap up?
Yeah, I don't know. Just Montreal's always just been interesting for me to watch. I'll see what they do, but whatever happens, like, yeah, it just, they need to kind of do something to either, like, realize, like, hey, what our identity is. Other than that, don't worry, Adam, we're with you throughout through it all.
Now more than ever, this team needs to be good.
Yeah, Alex and I as Leafs fans.
Okay. Yeah. Hop on the bandwagon, Daniel. Hop on the bandwagon. Think about it. Now more than ever, we need a Canadian team who brings in lots of money to be good and make the playoffs.